Good evening, everyone. You are in the spotlight with Brian Gardner for this Thursday, August the 17th, 2017. Good to have you all here for our first and only show of this week. Um, there's a lot that has to be said at the top here before we get into everything. First, as always, let me remind you all the ways in which you can interact and contribute to our show, have your voice heard by emailing us at itspotlight411@gmail.com. You can also follow us and tweet us at itspotlight411. Please remember to use the hashtag itspotlight411 for anything you tweet regarding our show. And, of course, you can find us on Facebook. Just search for In the Spotlight 411 on Facebook. And then make sure that you like our page once you find it. Now, or once you're on it, I should say. Now, there's a lot that's happened over the last week, including even today, that we need to say off the top because, again, I say this all the time, but it's the truth. It's far more important than anything we're going to discuss tonight, anything we're going to analyze tonight. And that is, first of all, today there was a tremendous tragedy in Barcelona, Spain. And we want to obviously express our condolences to all those that lost their lives in that tragedy and to all those in some other way impacted. Our thoughts and prayers are with you and your family, friends, and loved ones. It's a horrible situation there. And, of course, also what happened in Charlottesville last weekend. Again, our condolences to all those that lost their lives and also in some other way impacted by those horrific events. And I don't want to get political. I don't want to get into that whole thing. I just feel like we should note the tragedy aspect of it because that's to me right now what we should focus on is the loss of life and all those injured or whatever the case may be. So and then because again it's been a long week of just kind of like bad news and such. Earlier this week there was, and this is more on a Hollywood note, there was a stunt person, a stunt woman on the set of Deadpool 2 that passed away. We want to express our condolences to her family, friends, loved ones, and may she rest in peace. So, I think it was a couple weeks ago when John Bernacker, the Walking Dead stuntman, had passed away. I mentioned that it's shocking that it doesn't happen more often because of how crazy some of these stunts are. But and now here we go again. So it's just sad and tragic, and our thoughts and prayers go out to her family, and may she rest in peace. Again, that's a very big, huge tragedy, and to all those impacted by the tragedies in Charlottesville and of course Barcelona today. Our thoughts and prayers are with you, and to all those impacted, and for the loss of life, may they all rest in peace. And I've said this before, people off the air. It just seems like every day you tune into the news, there's something horrible going on. It's just sad. It really is. So, and then there's another piece of news. We'll be talking about this throughout the night tonight, maybe a few times. Ric Flair, who thankfully is doing better, but he still needs your thoughts. He still needs your prayers. There's been a lot of misinformation this week about that, from it was just a routine thing to it could be something to do with the heart to it's a colon surgery. There's been a lot of misinformation in regards to what was going on with Ric Flair, which started on Saturday. Now we know a little bit more about it, which is that he had a part of his bowels removed due to a blockage, which compromised other organs, including his kidneys, which failed, which is why it got so dire so quickly. Apparently, he is improving. He was also put in a medically induced coma before his surgery. So, but again, he is improving, but he's not out of the woods yet. He's still critical. It's said that he will need at least one more surgery. We don't know when that will be. He's looking at a hospital stay of at least a month. So he's not out of the woods yet, but he is doing better, and things look better than they did maybe on Sunday night. But still, Rick still needs your thoughts and needs your prayers. So does his family. So we want to send them his way. Obviously, a very strong individual, but again, this is a fairly serious thing they have to deal with. So we want to make sure to note that. I thought, given it's a wrestling show too, we should note that. So a lot of things that had to be said off the top of the show as I welcome in my co-host, Mike. You're in the spotlight.
Pretzel. I'm going to say 3 things.
Go ahead, please.
Fuck ISIS, fuck white supremacists, and Godspeed.
Agreed. Now, this is our one and only show of this week. We don't have a lot to do. It's going to be mostly a wrestling show. We can't devote the whole show to wrestling when we're doing one show a week. So this won't be as long as last Thursday when we had the award nominations. And by the way, real quickly, I want to make sure that we note this. I want to say thank you to all those that made the nomination show a success last week. It was a tremendous success. And to all those that have been participating, thank you to you as well. Everything is going very, very well. Obviously, the winning ballots, and of course the live voted nominees are due in 2 weeks, I believe. Yeah, 2 weeks from. I think it's a week from Tuesday, I should say, that they're due, but pretty much 2 weeks. So I want to thank all of you for your continued support and involvement with that. It's been a tremendous success again this year. So thank you for that. A couple things, as I said, tonight will be mostly wrestling. We'll be previewing WWE Summerslam pay-per-view. We'll go over the matches, make predictions. And what time we have, we'll do some questions and comments. I don't imagine we'll do a lot, but we will. So, you'll have that. There's not much to do with sports other than a couple quick hitters. We'll do that. I know we've been kind of neglecting it, but we just haven't had the time with the nominations and all that. So bear with us on that. Then we'll do a couple of TV highlights because Mike insists that we do them. And then we'll do box office beat, which again is going to be very quick. I think I did it maybe in 3 minutes last week. It'll probably be about the same because there ain't much to say. So mostly this show will be wrestling. So strap in for that. Now, very important to point this out because we're going to have a schedule change for the next 2 weeks. We've been doing shows on Thursday nights once a week throughout the summer. The next 2 weeks, okay, the shows will be on Tuesday. We're shifting to Tuesday, starting this coming Tuesday for the next 2 weeks. And then obviously September we go back to our normal schedule. But on this Tuesday and next Tuesday will be when we have our next shows. So please keep that in mind. It's just because of with Labor Day and everything, people go on vacation. That just makes it easier, and it was the better thing to do. So I've been kind of warning you all of this, but I just want to make sure that I note that here off the top. So again, next 2 weeks, our one and only show will be on Tuesday nights, not on Thursdays. And of course, the first week of September, the week after Labor Day, we will be back to our 2-show-a-week schedule. Of course, that will be TV Awards week for us. So, but more on that in the weeks to come. Another thing, people have been asking me about what's going to happen with the football show this year. Obviously the last couple of years we've been doing the In the Spotlight Football Blitz. I'll talk more about that come the first week of September. We'll talk more about a lot of things come the first week of September. I don't want to get into it right now, so I'll table that discussion for the moment. All right, so really quickly here, off the top of the show, I want to mention a couple quick sports topics, and we're going to be very quick because we want to save some time. Do the TV highlights, do the box office. We're going to get through all that very quickly so we can get to the wrestling because that is the primary goal of this show tonight. So a couple quick things, couple quick baseball thoughts because we've neglected baseball, and we're headed towards the playoffs. Right now. We're closing in on September baseball. Couple quick things, and this is just general thoughts. There ain't really any news stuff or anything like that. Nothing that we have to really pressingly talk about. But a couple of things that you've all raised over the last couple of weeks in terms of thoughts and reactions and opinions. I think what we've seen over these last couple weeks, in terms of play, obviously home runs are up, and we've been talking about that all season. Obviously the game's more interesting, a lot of big market teams involved, which is helping. But a lot of you have noted that and I think especially in New York, a lot of people that live in New York have noted that it seems like exhibition, early season football games are getting better ratings than a lot of big baseball games, including Yankees, Red Sox, including in markets that those games should do well in, like New York, and and that I've gotten that reaction a lot over the last couple of weeks as preseason football has started, and you're seeing more and more games with that. And people have been wanting our thoughts, and I think this is a topic that can get into a lot of different things. The whole idea of people thinking baseball is boring, the games go on forever, blah 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 blah. We could get into that. We could do a 3-hour thing on that. We really could. But here, let me just, as I said, my effort to be quick here. I'm going to make 3 points. One, you have to consider, okay, a lot of different things here. Football is not a sport, especially in this age of apps, where people can follow games on apps. Football is not a sport that people like to follow on an app. Neither is basketball. You can't keep up with the action. Baseball, you can follow easily on an ESPN app or an MLB app or something. It's very easy. It's a slower moving sport. But things like football, you can't do it. It's not. Nobody likes to do it. It's it takes all the fun out of the game. So I think you take that into account when it comes to this. I also think you have to take into account another thing. And that is that obviously we know football's king in this country now. It is the big thing now as compared to baseball. I think baseball needs to have a couple years like this year where offense continues to be up, where the big teams continue to be successful. And I think they need to have compelling stories and compelling players. They're starting to go back in that direction where they were in the 90s, and that only without steroid use, thank God. But it's going to take time to rebuild after about a 6-7 year period where sabermetrics ruled and defense ruled and pitching ruled. And it was just for people, it was hard to watch. It's going to take time to rebuild that. Huh?
It was boring. It was boring as shit.
It was. It was.
To watch. And none of the big teams really won, except for maybe St. Louis and Boston. The Cubs,
San Francisco.
But we like the Cubs.
Well, the Cubs kind of represented the turnaround.
Sure.
Yeah. But yeah, you're right. You're right.
But baseball was boring as fuck. It was impossible to watch. That's just the long and the short.
I also think too, and you're right. I also think too, though, depending on the circumstances, okay? Like last week, I know was the first. I think last Friday, if I know the information right, it was the Giants' first exhibition game, first preseason game, and they're playing the Steelers, and they're up against the Yankees and the Red Sox. And I really made a big deal. Oh, the Giant game beat the Yankee game. Well, here's the thing: that Yankee game, okay, gets rerun. All right. So if you're if you're a fan of both teams, let's say you're a Giant and a Yankee fan, all right, the preseason game is not going to get repeated. All right, and if that's the first experience,
it probably will on NFL Network.
It might, but if you want to watch it live, or you're really excited about the Giants, but you have reason to be,
you gotta get you have to get your fix. That's what you're saying.
You have to get your fix.
You have to get your fix.
Even though it's Yankees, Red Sox,
get it right in your veins.
Right, pretty much. Now, I mean, if you talk to a lot of people, they'll say, "Well, I tuned in. I was flipping the channels back and forth, whatever." I mean, to be honest with you, if it wasn't the first preseason game, it might have been different. I think it's just that people haven't seen it. They haven't seen their team. They want to see their team, even though you're not playing all the big. To me, it's preposterous and ridiculous for that to be the case. It's a preseason NFL game. The big players aren't even going to play. To me, that's not the. I mean, I could see week one of a football game beating a baseball game that matters. I can see that because that's an actual real game. The game counts. The game matters. But for a preseason game to beat a game like Yankees Red Sox in August of all times, playoff push, to me it seems unfathomable to be honest. But again, football rules. People look forward to any kind of football they look forward to in this country. It's just the way it is. It's just the way it is. No matter how crazy it sounds to a lot of us, they're like, well, geez, it's a preseason game. You're not even playing Eli Manning. You're not even playing Ben Roethlisberger. You're not playing any of the big guys. You're playing Joe Smo from down the hall. You're playing like a fourth-string quarterback. All right, you're not playing anybody big in this game. But people haven't seen football, so they're going to check it out, and that's just the bottom line. So it's that feeling.
They gotta get their fix.
They got to get their fix, and that's the long and the short of it, and that's the thing that you're fighting against if you're baseball. And maybe we could go into a full discussion, but maybe that's people say that you hear all the time people say, well, baseball shouldn't go beyond August because once football season starts, unless it's the playoffs, people just don't care anymore. People don't care about those final 4 weeks of September because their attention has shifted to football. It's like the NBA. The NBA, even though it's the final few weeks of the season in March as you push to the playoffs, are people paying attention to the NBA in March? No, they're paying attention to college basketball because it's March Madness. You see what I'm saying? Like, there's certain things in this country that take away. I mean, March Madness, you're not going to get anybody's attention away from that. You're not. It's a sports epicenter of March. That's where people's focus is going to be. Just like in September, football, even though it's the early season, remember, football's only a 16-week thing, regular season thing. People are going to watch those games. They're looking forward to it. They can't wait for it. They're going to watch those games. They're like, you know what? Baseball playoffs don't start till October. Why should I care now? I'll just see who makes it and watch one, It's the way it goes. So if you're baseball, that's what you're fighting against. So to me, is it shocking that you're seeing preseason games beat big baseball games? No. It's sad. I think it shouldn't be the case. But, I mean, it doesn't shock me at all, quite frankly. So I wanted to bring up that. Other than that, there's really, the Dodgers are at a ridiculous pace right now. They're 50 games over 500. They're going to win 110 games. They're running away with things. The NL West continues to be the best division in baseball with the Diamondbacks and the Rockies both having great seasons. Any other division, they'd be running away with it, but the Dodgers are that good, so they're not going to catch them. How often are you a team 15 or 16 games over 500 like the Diamondbacks or the Rockies, and you're 18 games out of first? That's ridiculous, but it's a good division. The Cubs look like they're about ready to put this thing away. The Nationals, same thing, although they have to worry about some of the injuries that they got going on. So the National League looks like it's about locked up at this point. The American League, I think the Indians are one good run away from ending the Central. I think you're seeing that now. Getting Jay Bruce, I think, helps them. And then getting Andrew Miller back in the mix, who I think will help them even more. You got to look out west, though. I think there's a storyline brewing there. Obviously, the Astros have come crashing back down to earth. They are no longer so far above everybody else. I'd be very worried if I'm an Astros fan because the pitching has been a mess. Keuchel does not look the same. The bullpen looks like it's been taxed. The offense is doing okay, but it's not doing as well. They have some injury concerns there. I'd be very worried about Houston here. I really would. If they get the wrong matchup, they're going to make the playoffs. They're going to win the division for clear as day, although the Angels are making things interesting now. But more so for the wild card, I think, than the division. But the Astros are going to win the division. I think that's clear. But I think depending on the matchup they get in the first round, you have to be very worried about the Astros right now. Their body language, the way that they're carrying themselves, that swagger that they had in the first half of the season is not there anymore. They are questioning themselves. There's a lot, I kind of think them not making a significant move at the trade deadline broke them a little bit. They were expecting their front office. They've been saying for years now, oh, we don't want to mortgage the future. Well, the future is now. This is their chance. Houston's window is now. I don't think you're going to get a better opportunity than this year to go for it. So, Houston is in a bind here. And I think that not making a move at the deadline really put them kind of told the locker room that maybe they don't believe in us as much. Maybe they do, maybe they think this first half is just a lucky streak. I don't know. but they do not look like the same baseball team. They don't. The AL East is interesting. Yankees are still there. You know, look like they're about to sweep the Mets. So that's the Mets. But that's going to be interesting. You figure that whatever one doesn't get the division will get a wild card. Tampa has dropped back. Baltimore, I don't think, is no longer a concern. I think they've fallen back enough now. I mean, I know a lot of these teams are only 3-4 games out, but I think that you're seeing that these teams, you know, are just too inconsistent, and they can't play up enough. They can't be consistent enough to stay in this for the long term. You see, every week it seems like you see a team kind of get to that second wild card spot, and then have a bad week, and then they drop back. That's kind of been the story for this whole season. And as far as the AL wild card goes, you know, the Mariners and stuff. The Angels are the team right now that is making that push that we've seen a lot of teams make. Tampa, Baltimore, Toronto, Minnesota, Seattle. They've all made that kind of real push to get to that second wild card spot, and then they have a bad week or two and they drop back. We'll see if the Angels can stay in it. If they can, then it makes things interesting. It might even make things interesting out west, but we'll see. But, you know, we're heading into, I think we're in the final 6 weeks of the season now. And, you know, the NL is pretty much set, bearing unforeseen consequence. And for the most part, the AL looks like it's starting to materialize. So there might not be a whole lot on the line other than maybe the AL wild card, maybe the AL East come mid-September. So it kind of hurts the end of the season for Major League Baseball. But again, though, if you look at the teams that might make it this year, you know, the Dodgers, the Cubs, the Nationals, the Rockies, the Diamondbacks, you know, you look at Yankees, Red Sox, Indians, maybe even the Angels. And Houston, a lot of these are big market teams, and a lot of these are interesting teams. So it could make for a very good October. It's just a matter of whether they all, you know, get in and what the matchups are, I suppose. Although, you know, Rob Manfred's dreaming of a Yankee, Red Sox, Cubs, Dodgers Final Four. If he gets that, he'd be drooling probably. Because no matter what he gets in the end, it would be an interesting matchup and a ratings winner. But, you know, we'll see how it goes right now. That's the state of things as far as baseball goes. Another story really quickly, and this one Mike will probably be interested in. Duke made some waves earlier this week in terms of Marvin Bagley, who was the number one recruit in the 2018 class. He reclassified to 2017 and will be going to Duke this year. Duke already has 5 or 6 top 100 players. They add the number one recruit from next year into this class, on top of who they have already in Grayson Allen and a couple other players back from last year. Duke has, Duke has made waves already. I know the college basketball season starts in November, but made waves already. And this has put Duke from just being a top 10 team to what many people assume will be the preseason number one. I think it was supposed to be either Kentucky or Kansas. Now people think it's going to be Duke. Now, let's be honest here. We've seen this game before. We know Duke's going to be good. We know they're going to be a potential Final Four team. But we know on paper, and a lot of it might not translate well. We've seen this before. So, but is it a huge deal? Yes. Is it shocking? Yes. Is this guy a good player? From what I can see, yes. I'm blanking on who he reminds me of. Oh, Chris Bosh. That's who he reminds me of. That's who he reminds me of. He's that kind of player. I don't know if he's got the build yet for that, but he's that kind of player. But again, as I'm sure Mike will tell you, it has to translate, and everybody has to get along. And Grayson Allen can't be having a temper tantrum every possession. It all has to kind of click together. You know, Mike Krzyzewski will be there. He's had knee replacement. He will be there, though. So, you know. But, yeah, it kind of changes things for the ACC. And as far as the national picture goes, I think you'd be crazy to not think it doesn't. But, Mike, do you have anything you want to add?
Well, since you're speaking for me,
I'm not speaking for you.
that yes, they'll be good, but it all has to pan out. They have to click together, and Grayson Allen can't have a temper tantrum every single time somebody else gets the goddamn ball. So, how Duke turns out on paper, they're expected to be like the best team in the country. That's all well and good, but who knows? Look, it's the same teams every year that everybody thinks is going to be the best fucking team in the country. Duke, or it's going to be Kentucky or Kansas and
Right.
Michigan State, but usually never Michigan State. Again,
Yeah. Yeah.
So
It's not really-
or UCLA, or just recently Villanova has kind of ascended to that. They won twice. They won. But that being said, all the top players will go to the top schools every year. It's the pattern continues. That's all I can say. The pattern continues, and not all these players kind of pan out the way that they think they're going to pan out. Duke is a system. Mike Krzyzewski is going to be there. Mike Krzyzewski is eventually going to replace all of his body parts with robotics just so he could make sure that Jim Boeheim the record. Unbeknownst to Mike Krzyzewski, though, Jim Boeheim somehow found the Fountain of Youth. Unfortunately, he found the Fountain of Youth when he was 65 and cranky, so that's how ever. So we're just going to have a coaching duel between a cyborg Mike Krzyzewski and an eternally cranky and not so middle-aged Jim Boeheim. All we need is Bob Knight just tear through space and time and just go back to coaching, just eternally angry, just so we can kind of get Indiana back to where they used to be once upon a time. Just because.
And here's another thing that could affect the ACC. And I'm not sure if you heard about this, but today, I guess North Carolina wrapped up its 2-day hearing with the NCAA Infractions Committee. Now the case, they are in yet another holding pattern. They had a closed-door meeting in Nashville, Tennessee. It was a 2-day meeting to discuss everything. Nobody knows when they're going to, we've been kind of dealing with this for quite a while. And we all know how long it can take. Look how long it took in Syracuse. But
Syracuse got nonsense for a self-reported infraction. Right. North Carolina got discovered doing this for over, 20, 30 years?
Yeah.
This is an institution in North Carolina, so they're going to get off with a slap on the wrist.
Well, they had their meeting. Now we don't know. Now, if we go by the past, they'll usually do this at the worst possible time. It'll usually be like February or something, right when the team's about to go into postseason play, because they like to announce penalties and punishment when the spotlight's on that team. They don't like to just do it early season when nobody's talking much about it. They like to do it when the eyes are on the sport, and college basketball gets eyes on it pretty much February and March. So they're going to wait until that time. We all know we've been down this road before. Unless
I think North Carolina is probably going to be like Duke if Duke ever doing infractions. We do this one on the down low, more or less, because North Carolina is such a huge money maker for them. One of their elite teams are not going to do it pretty hardcore yet.
I don't know what I expect.
I think North Carolina is going to get dinged. But that being said, I don't think it's going to be dinged as badly as Syracuse or Louisville has gotten dinged, or an SMU.
Couldn't you see them doing something where maybe they wait until January, February to see what kind of season North Carolina's having? And if they're having a bad season, they give it a more severe punishment, thinking that they couldn't do anything anyway?
More than likely, but I feel like whatever happens, it's going to be very quiet.
You might be right.
By a penalty unless North Carolina sucks, like you say.
Yeah, I mean,
I feel like they're going to go because North Carolina is one of the protected teams.
I don't think they're going to suck, so I think it's a moot point. But yeah, I see what you're saying. No, I see what you're saying though. But I just wanted to bring that up because I think people probably been wondering what's been going on with that. And one last thing before we move on. The NFL Players Association has said that a 2021 strike or lockout is very likely.
Oh, no, that would kill the sport. No.
Would it? Would it really?
It won't do anything.
I don't think they'll do it anyway. I mean, one of the things that I think football has in its favor is football has a very long offseason. Their offseason starts in the middle of February, right after the Super Bowl. They don't do anything until, as far as playing games, you don't have preseason until August. So yeah, you might lose some training and all that other stuff, and free agency gets postponed. We saw that the last time there was almost a strike. It didn't miss a beat. It's not like baseball and basketball and that where the offseason is not quite as long. So because of the longer season. So, if you have a prospective strike and a lockout, what happens? You're your back's against the wall right away. You're in a hurry to try to end it because otherwise you're going to cut into your season. So it's a little bit different. I don't think it would get to that point. First of all, it's a long time away, but it's got everybody like, they're going to have it. Look, I don't think it's going to happen. I think they're putting it out there now to prevent it from happening. I wouldn't worry about it if you're a fan. They'll figure it out, but it's something worth thinking about, I suppose, or considering.
There's far too much money on the table. They'll figure that out.
Yeah. Now,
far too much money.
As for, I mentioned last week, you had the PGA Championship. Not much went on there. Congratulations, Justin Thomas. It was a great tournament by him, but really, with Spieth not doing anything, that tournament lost a lot of it.
Wait. The founder of Wendy's won? I thought he was dead.
Justin Thomas, Mike, not Dave Thomas.
Oh, who the fuck is Justin Thomas?
He's a good player. He's one of those guys, though. There's that tier of players that kind of once in a while would surprise you, and maybe come in second or third in the tournament kind of deal. He's one of those kind of players.
You didn't answer the question.
I apologize. But
I mean, good for him, I guess. He won a tournament, but
yeah, but it wasn't. Look, this tournament was all about Jordan Spieth. No disrespect to anybody else. If Jordan Spieth wasn't going to be there on Sunday, as far as being in the mix, then this tournament lost a lot of its luster. And I know they changed the PGA schedule. I think in 2 years we're going to have the PGA Championship in March, and they're doing all kinds of different things. They're really trying here. They know that the sport's in trouble. Tiger Woods is pretty much done. We all know that now. The rehab thing and everything, he's done. They got Spieth, they got McIlroy, but he's too inconsistent. Phil, is lessening his schedule. The sport's in trouble. They're trying to get interest. I get that. I don't know what they're going to really do. But they got lucky that Jordan won the Open last month, and it kind of gave them something to go into this PGA Championship with. Otherwise, they would have had nothing. Unfortunately, it ended up petering out. But what are you going to do? That's what happens with golf. You pin your hopes on one player, and look what happens. But congratulations, Justin Thomas. It's good for him, but the tournament kind of lost a lot of its appeal when Spieth didn't really do much in the tournament. So, but all right, sports-wise, we got through everything. We even did a little more than I thought. So I just want to touch on a few of those topics. We're going to jump to entertainment now. Really quick, I'm going to do the box office thing because I just want to get it over with before I forget what I want to say. I guess if you're Hollywood, you like what happened here because you did get a movie that maybe exceeded expectations. Annabelle Creation, $35 million. Although based on the other Conjuring shared cinematic universe properties, you would expect this kind of total, and because it falls in line with it. So it's a $15 million budget. You made $35 million right out of the gate. That's good. But other than that, the box office kind of cratered last weekend. You know, we all thought some of these movies might do a little bit better. I thought Dark Tower would hold better. It didn't. You know, Nut Job I thought would do better. It didn't. Dunkirk did okay. I mean, it's its fourth week, and it came in second. But realistically, I mean, Annabelle Creation's $35 million. Dunkirk stayed put in second, $10.8 million. Nut Job 2, $8.3 million third. Dark Tower went all the way from 1 to 4. And dropped to $7.8 million with a 60% drop off pretty much. Girls Trip came in fifth, dropping from 4 to $6.4 million. Emoji Movie from third to sixth, $6.4 million. Spider-Man Homecoming, pretty good hold, it dropped from 6th to 7th, a little over $6 million. And then you had Halle Berry's Kidnap movie in the second week, dropped about 50% to about a little over $5 million in eighth. And The Glass Castle opened in ninth with 4.6, which doesn't surprise you. It wasn't a movie that had a lot of talk, even though it had some good cast members in it. I mean, look, it's a down weekend. There's no way, shape, or form around it. We've been talking the last couple of weeks. The summer's petering out. I mean, Dunkirk's done about what you'd expect it to have done. Girls Trip exceeded expectations, so you don't look at that. Emoji Movie flopped. Spider-Man's done well. I mean, other than Dunkirk and Spider-Man, I don't look. I've seen a lot of headlines. Oh, Dark Tower's a flop. Dark Tower this, Dark Tower that. It's a flop, just like so many other things. I reckon, but here's the thing: it's 56.3 million worldwide right now. It's still rolling out in several other countries. Yes, it's a domestic flop, but as we've said before, just because you flop in the U.S. does not mean that you're going to totally flop. As it expands its rollout internationally, it could do a lot better and end up being worthy of a sequel. Right now, I would say no, it won't. But right now, it could increase its chances there. You got to give time to roll out its entire international release before you start labeling it a flop. I'm sorry, I'm getting sick and tired of seeing, you know, just because you don't do well in the U.S., that means that your movie flopped. We've seen it time and time again how most of the money is being made overseas now compared to here. We all know that, so I don't know why that's such a hard thing to consider or to remember. But nonetheless, yes, these last 2 months of summer have been very, very weak. It's been a rough summer at box office. I don't call it a slump. I call it maybe average. This is really what you used to get in the summer. On average, you used to have big weekends, and then in between you had weekends like you just had. Remember, we only pulled in 35 million. Everything else was well below it. So, you know, it is what it is. It wasn't the best weekend, but it definitely wasn't one of the worst I've seen. But it did kind of crater a little bit. It was probably one of the worst weekends of this summer, if not the worst, yes, but it's not a terrible one. And as you look ahead to this weekend, I think you have two movies that really have the chance to do okay. I don't think they're going to do great because we've hit that part of summer where people are getting in their final summer vacations and, you know, going to camp and all this other stuff, getting ready for school, college and everything. You've hit that part of the summer, so it's a little bit harder to get people to go to the movies. Once everything settles back in September, I think you'll get back rolling again. But you do have two higher concept movies that could do okay. The biggest release this weekend is The Hitman's Bodyguard, an action comedy from Lionsgate Summit, opening in 3,377 theaters, R-rated, starring Ryan Reynolds, Samuel L. Jackson, Salma Hayek, and Gary Oldman. Been well promoted. Obviously, Reynolds is a star right now. Samuel L. Jackson's a star. It's something that we haven't had a lot of this summer, an action comedy, so it could do well. Here's the problem, though. The second biggest release is also an action comedy, Logan Lucky from Bleecker Street, opening in 3,031 theaters. My screen will pull up. I'll let you know more about it. It's going to... let's see. It's frozen here, so give me a minute. Oh, here it is. Okay. Daniel Craig, Channing Tatum, Adam Driver, Sebastian Stan, Hilary Swank, Catherine Waterston, and Seth MacFarlane all star in this film. It's a heist caper film, but PG-13, which is key. I think that helps it. Obviously makes it more accessible. Only a $29 million budget, so a little bit of a lower risk. It's got some good buzz, so this movie could do well as well. Other than that, you only have only other movie worth noting is a film that's expanding its release into 694 theaters from the Weinstein Company called Wind River. It is a drama starring Jeremy Renner and Elizabeth Olsen, John Bernthal. It's already made about a little over $1 million. So we'll see what it does. It's been well promoted, but I don't anticipate a big you got the 694 theater count, which is not high enough to really factor into much of anything. So you're probably looking at about 2-3 million, maybe if it's lucky this weekend. But again, I don't think they'd expect much more. So this weekend is all about Hitman's Bodyguard and Logan Lucky. And my expectation is I think Hitman's Bodyguard will take number one. I think he'll take number one with a total that's probably similar to – my dog thinks so too, apparently. With a total that's probably going to be similar to Annabelle's Creation last year, about maybe 30-35 million. It could be lower. You never know how the R rating will hold this back. But I can't see it making much more than that, only because of the fact that it is, again, late summer. So I'll go 30-35 million for Hitman's Bodyguard. Again, don't be surprised if it's lower than that. I might be going a little high on it, but I think Logan Lucky, despite its PG-13 rating, will come in, and its great cast will come in second. Probably around 20 or so million. That might even be optimistic. Again, it could be a little bit lower than that, but 20 or so million. And then I think you'll see Annabelle Creation drop considerably, which is usually what horror thriller type movies do. It'll probably drop. I'll go around 12 million for that one. Dunkirk around 7 million for Dunkirk. Nut Job around 6. Dark Tower and Girls Trip around 5, and I think everything else will drop below 5 million. The only one I can see staying at 5 million, maybe a little better, is Spider-Man. That's the only one I can see because it's been holding better than Emoji Movie and Emoji Movie has. But yeah, that's how I kind of see it going this weekend. So I think it'll be a better weekend this weekend because I think both of the new releases will do better. I don't think you'll just have one movie make a good amount in opening well. I think you'll see two movies. Even if they open a little lower than I'm anticipating, I think on average it'll just be better because the two movies will be doing better in terms of performance. So I think it'll end up being better, end up falling better for Hollywood this weekend than last weekend. But it still won't be a great weekend according to what most people consider a summer weekend because as we've seen this summer, people completely go crazy on predictions with this during the summer. They give unrealistic expectations to movies. So every weekend in summer this year has been a flop according to most prognosticators. That's the way it's been. Even though it's completely absurd that that's the case. But next weekend and the weekend after is what I like to call your traditional Hollywood dumping time. Where movies that they really don't care too much about, and movies that they're not too sure about, they have to get them out. This is when they throw those movies out there. It's kind of like that lull period. So the next 2 weeks will be not much going on. It'll probably be very bad at the box office, but it is what it is. So, but that's how I see things at the box office as far as last week and this week goes. Mike, anything to add?
Both Logan Lucky and look really, really good at the job. Hitman's Bodyguard look really fantastic. Both kind of pretty much have the same friggin' audience.
Yep.
Both draw pretty well, even though I think Logan Lucky might skew not as mainstream. Lucky, surprise. It's got a lot of mainstream attention.
Right.
To beat the mainstream attention of Reynolds and Sam Jackson. So.
Okay. All right. So, all right. So that's the box office beat for this week. Now we move on to a segment that I wasn't going to do because, as Mike has noted off the air, he obviously watches more TV than me in summer, other than like Game of Thrones and stuff. So, Game of Thrones has been good, but I don't want to just do a segment to highlight one show. So I'll let Mike go here as he presents his TV highlights here. So, Mike, go ahead.
Highlights of the week.
Oh.
Brian says, yes, people do watch and enjoy these shows. Brian's just being a dick because he doesn't watch these shows.
Okay.
Anyways. What, back at me? Well, I know I'm a dick, but you're a dick and you just don't admit it. So you might want to admit failure for not watching these great shows. Anyways, I'm going to start off with the USA miniseries with Jessica Biel and Bill Pullman, and I am enjoying it. There's a mystery there, and whenever you think that they solved a bit of the mystery, suddenly there's a twist. You don't really have. I thought this was an 8-part mystery, and apparently it's only like 4. I don't know. So I feel like we're playing. The last episode aired yesterday. I didn't get a chance to see it, so I do highly recommend. The show, The Sinner. It is really good. There's a fun. It's fun. There's a good mystery to it. I'm also recommending Broadchurch, the series finale. I didn't get a chance to see it, but I'm always going to recommend Broadchurch. Mark hasn't died yet, committing suicide. Mark's turned into this giant dick, kind of like you. But Broadchurch, fantastic show starring David Tennant. I'm really looking forward to see how it ends because we still don't have a clear-cut suspect. And you don't usually have a clear-cut suspect until like the last episode, and all of a sudden the entire mystery comes together. So that aired last night. You can catch it on demand. Great show. Other than that, I'm going to recommend the finale of Remember Me. He stars Michael Palin. Even though he's a member of Monty Python, it was like a suspense. It's kind of like a thriller kind of show, dealing with like this ghost maid who's killing people. It's actually a fairly nice suspense thriller. It didn't get the best ratings in Britain, and so I brought it over here. It's 3 parts, 3 episodes, 1 series. Not too bad. It aired a masterpiece mystery. So there you go. I give you 3 solid shows for you, and they're all mysteries. They're all mysteries. It's like, hey, what do you want me to recommend? Read Pizza Bowl.
All right. So
by the way, I do recommend Read Pizza Bowl. They aired the one where Chris Jackson's character, Chunk, was like one of the major leads, and everybody likes Christopher Jackson. He is in fact George Washington, and no, George Washington's monuments aren't going to come down. They're not coming down.
Okay. All right. So there you go. TV highlights. All right. So now we go to wrestling, which is going to be the rest of our show. Now, there is a lot of matches for this card. All right. But here's the thing, folks. Okay. A lot of these matches aren't a lot of discussion. So, you know, they're just not. So there's a couple of kickoff matches. So, you know, we'll talk about those matches really quickly. You know, and we'll go over all the matches, make predictions. And there's some matches that we'll obviously talk more about than others. But, you know, there's a lot of matches on this card. So we want to try to move as quickly as we can. So we will do that. And we'll start, as always, with the kickoff matches. And again, this is like WrestleMania 2, okay? That's why there's so many matches on the card. So, although arguably this SummerSlam isn't as interesting as last, I would admit that. But yeah, so I'm just trying to get this page to pull up, so bear with me here. My computer is not running great, so just, you know, kind of hang tight with me here. All right, so we'll start with the kickoff matches. This match was just announced. You're going to have the Hardy Boys and Jason Jordan versus The Miz and the Miztourage. This is a kickoff match at SummerSlam. So I'll start, and I'll do this very quickly. Obviously, they threw this together. They obviously didn't want to do they obviously weren't ready to do the Jason Jordan Miz Intercontinental title match. And I think that's simply because they don't know whether they're going to go full on out with Jason Jordan yet. Because it's already been rumored that they've already soured on Jason Jordan. So I think their way of trying now, it's like, let's just throw them in with the Hardys, because the Hardy Boys original match was the Revival, and that can't happen. Let's just throw them with the Hardy Boys and see if we can get a reaction, and see if we can get them going here, and then see if we can revisit the Miz thing. If not, then we'll go another direction. There's no sense in taking a title off Miz and ruining his reign if you're not sure about Jason Jordan. So I think that's where they're at with Jason Jordan. Now, this match will be quick. I expect the Hardy Boys and Jason Jordan to win. It's a good way to get the crowd going. Hopefully they have one of the Miztourage pin and not the Miz. But it'll be a nice, quick little crowd, get the crowd going kind of match. But yeah, and I expect Jordan will get the pin because they want to see how the crowd reacts. But yeah, Hardy Boys and Jason Jordan win this match. Mike, go ahead.
I'm going to be very quick about this. They actively ran the match on Raw. Same result. Jason Jordan is going to pin the Miz. I'm going to tell you exactly how the crowd's going to react to Jason Jordan. They're going to boo the crap out of him. He's a white meat baby face with no edge to him. No edge, no personality, and more importantly,
yeah,
this war Jason Jordan just didn't have the chops for it. And
right.
He really just wasn't ready for that position. That's just the long and the short. Say, and Jason Jordan are going to win, but they're going to boo Jason Jordan. They're going to do lots of delete chants for the Hardys. That's exactly what's going to happen.
Right.
But yeah.
All right, so next up we have a rematch for the Cruiserweight Championship between the champion Akira Tozawa and Neville. Mike, go ahead.
Wait, this match actually is going to make it on the show?
It's a kickoff match.
I'm sorry, but this match, A, should have been on the show, and B, they should have title change on Raw. Being said, Tozawa's going to retain here over Neville. It's going to be a great match and should be on the show.
Agreed.
I feel like Titus Worldwide is going to continue to be a thing. Tozawa literally just won. They're not going to have him drop it. It's not. They got to give the guy at least a little bit of a chance.
Right.
Tozawa's going to do good things, so he's going to retain. So Akira Tozawa. Akira Tozawa.
We're going to talk about it in a minute. I understand why they did the Balor Wyatt match on Monday, because it set up a whole character thing for Finn Balor. Made sense. But doing this Cruiserweight Championship match on Monday Night Raw on Monday was stupid. Because that kind of moment in Brooklyn would have been great for Tozawa. And yes, the crowd was good on Monday. They got a good reaction out of that match. It was a great match. They built it up as a moment. I'm not saying it wasn't great what happened on Monday, but it was at the wrong time. That should have been saved for Sunday. Even though it shouldn't be on the kickoff show, even if it was on the kickoff show, at least at SummerSlam, I would have dealt with it. But it should have been at SummerSlam on the main card. It really should have been. But I digress. And this rematch should be on the main card because these guys put on a show on Monday night. But yeah, I agree. It makes no sense. I've heard some people speculating that maybe Neville gets it back. To me, it would do nothing for Tozawa here. You've put him over big here. You built up to this moment. You built up the Titus brand through him. I wouldn't do that here. Make this a good match. You got a 2-hour pre-show here. Make this a good match. Get the crowd involved. Keep the title on Tozawa here. And move on. And that's what I think they will do. I think Tozawa retains in what should be a very, very good match. One more kickoff match we have. SmackDown Tag Team Champions, The New Day versus the Usos. This one's a quick one. And this is one match I'm kind of glad is on the pre-show because we've seen these two teams battle each other so much in the past. We don't need it on the main card. We just don't. So I'm okay with it being on the pre-show, especially since you got the New Day there. They'll get the crowd going. Also gives them time to maybe get a promo and in on the kickoff show and not take away from too much airtime on the main card. So it works out. New Day is going to retain here. All right. The Usos were placeholders essentially for the New Day. And of course the Usos always going to get reigns because, they like the Usos too. But the Usos are essentially holding them for the New Day. It'll be a nice little match. But hopefully, this is the only match on the kickoff show that gets a lot of time. Is Cesaro and Never, because it's the only one that deserves it. But this match should be quick. New Day is going to retain here. Again, gets the crowd going. All these matches should get the crowd going in time for the main card. So, but yeah, New Day's retaining. Mike, go ahead.
They ran this match on SmackDown too.
Oh, go figure.
And the Usos won.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Quite literally, the same thing is not going to happen. New Day is going to win. There's literally no doubt about that.
Right.
So, there it is.
There it is. All right. Next up, we have Randy Orton versus Rusev. Mike?
I like Randy Orton. I like Rusev. I have a decent match. Randy Orton has just jobbed out to Jinder Mahal for 3 months. Well, I'm pretty sure this match is just there to get Randy Orton his win back. Get Randy Orton a win back. It's on the show, more or less. So I'm going to say Randy Orton's going to beat Rusev here, even though it probably should.
Yeah.
It probably should go to Rusev. It's going to be.
I think you're right. I feel bad for Rusev here because he's been everybody's quality win this summer. That's pretty much been what they've been doing with him. I can't help but wonder if maybe there's heat on him or something. I don't know, but this is going to be an interesting match because, look, Rusev's a good worker. Orton's a good worker. I expect these matches to be better than what he did with Jinder Mahal. But, yeah, I think Orton's going to win here. They need some faces to go. I know they're going to have New Day and they're going to have Cesaro. I expect this to be more face-heavy than the last couple months. But, yeah, I even still, I think they need Orton to win here. And unfortunately, that's to come at Rusev's expense. So, yeah, Randy Orton to win here, which should be a good match if they give it some time. Next up, we have Big Show versus Big Cass with Enzo Amore suspended above the ring in a shark cage. Think they don't like Enzo? Even though they give him a ton of mic time, which I think is funny.
Well, they give him a ton of mic time because the dude can talk.
Yeah, but you can tell that. We all know there's heat on. We've been talking about it, but it's they like this shark cage thing too. They've been doing that a lot lately.
Oh yeah. They love.
But yeah,
somebody in the back has a boner for that shark cage gimmick.
Ever since they did it down at NXT, it's all of a sudden become a thing. But yeah, look, they don't like. We know backstage there's a lot of heat on Enzo, so I can't help but think that's part of the reason why they're doing this. Look, this should be the end of this feud. I hope it's the end of this feud. I don't, if you had asked me a month ago, I said Big Cass would win this match, but I still think he will. But gosh, it would not surprise me if they have Big Show win here. I know people are going to be like, well, that crushes Big Cass, but I think that, you see what's gone on a lot. Some of these people that they wanted to push over the last couple months, you've seen them backtrack on. And I wouldn't be the least bit surprised if they backtrack on Cass. I really wouldn't. Now, this could be the last time we see Enzo on the main card because of rumors he might go back down to NXT. We'll see. So I don't know. But, they're in Brooklyn. So, part of me thinks that they'll have Big Cass win. I don't know. But I could see I'm going to go with Big Cass. this match ain't gonna go long. It's going to be more theatrical and more about the gimmick than anything else. I'm gonna go with Big Cass. I don't know how they're gonna do it, you know, but I'm gonna go with Big Cass here. Mike, go ahead.
I'm going to actually just go with the Big Show.
Okay.
The reason why is for everything you just said. I honestly think that they've soured on both Cass and Enzo. They've heavily on Enzo. But I honestly think they've soured on Cass a little bit too. He looks more natural in the role now. What I get, he actively does look more natural in his role. Like a few ago, dude was nervous as hell. Now he's kind of matured into it. I just don't think it matters.
Right.
With Enzo, and I think because Big Cass hasn't been doing well until now, they're not going to take that chance. I think Big Show's going to win as an apology for having to deal with this Enzo and Cass bullshit. I think propulsed up into a more relevant program.
I would also throw this out there. You know, Big Show already put over Strowman this year, and you have to think they're going to do something more with Big Show in the next couple of months. If they need Big Show to maybe challenge for the Universal title or something, you kind of need him to get a win at some point.
This is the win.
Especially
if it's Strowman and I'm going to say if whoever wins the main event program for Raw, the Universal title, Fatal 4-Way, is an easy guy to get a quality win off of.
Right.
I feel like Big Show's got to get a win somewhere, and I think it's here.
I agree. I could see that. So, you know what? I mean, I'm going with Cass only because I think they might continue to push, but there are a lot more reasons to pick Big Show. You're right. You're right.
I'm picking Big Show.
All right, next up we have the Demon, Finn Balor versus Bray Wyatt. Go ahead, Mike.
Honest to God, they shouldn't have said anything after Finn Balor said, "Oh well, Bray Wyatt's got his demons and I've got mine." You know, he probably has gone out of their way to promoting, "Oh well, the demon's back." Yes, we know. Pretty heavily. We're not idiots. WWE is treating us like idiots again. However, I'm going to say 50-50 booking at its fine. Balor is going to definitely win here. So, I'm hoping it'll be better than what we got. Monday was fine. The Monday Night Raw match was fine, but I feel like this one should be better. People are going to go crazy for Demon Balor. It's going to be a great match. I'm going to say Finn Balor will beat Bray Wyatt in like Bray Wyatt's first loss in months, surprisingly, even though Bray Wyatt always loses.
Okay.
Brian, you're picking
here.
Finn Balor too, huh?
Yeah. This, to me, is one of the easier matches to call. Look, they already gave Bray a clean win on Monday, and what was a good match? They did this to set up the whole demon thing. You know, they did it last year. Now he's doing it again. You know, they did it to set this up. It's going to be a big moment. It's going to be a spectacle. It's going to be a good storytelling match. But yeah, Finn Balor's winning this match. I mean, they already put Bray. And look, Bray's had a nice little run here. So you can accept Finn winning this match. So, yeah, good match. Finn Balor's going to win. Demon Finn Balor, I should say. All right, next up we have SmackDown Women's Champion Naomi versus Natalya. This one I can do very quickly. First of all, they probably did this match because the only person that's gotten decent enough matches out of Naomi, at least consistently, is Natalya. So they know they can get at least a decent enough match out of this, and Natalya can put her over here. Naomi's going to win this match. Naomi's going to win. I mean, maybe they give Natalya kind of a nostalgic win here. I guess I could see that, but the chances of that are very slim. All right, but I think the chances are it's going to be Naomi here. because I think they're going to do a cash-in, especially after what happened on Tuesday, right, Mike? Yeah. Yeah. We'll talk more about that later. I've been meaning to talk to you about that. But yeah, I think you know what? We've been saying this, I think, for the last month, that it's either going to be the women's, somebody was going to cash in at SummerSlam. I think it's a given. I think they're going to do, and look, it's the first women's briefcase, so she's not going to fail. Especially given what happened Tuesday. So yeah, Naomi's going to win this match. It won't go on very long. I think Natalya will do her best, but Naomi's going to win this match, and Carmella's going to cash in. That will be the feud we get on SmackDown for the time being. So that's the way I see it. Mike, go ahead.
I'm going to say this. I'm going to even kind of go a step further. They have to kind of make sure this one goes, especially since up huge money in the bank with Ellsworth.
Right.
Up huge.
Right.
Make sure this one goes well. Before that even happens, I agree with you. Who's gotten a decent match out of Naomi? Natalya Reed. But that's only because Natalya is super good. Let's just call that one how it is. Natalya is very good, but she's pretty much going to be everybody's quality win. But that's not a bad thing. I mean, for her, it's really not gonna get a major run anytime soon. That being said, they're going to have the cash in at SummerSlam. Naomi's going to win, and then Carmella's going to cash in and be successful in her cash in. So I think Naomi's going to win the match, but I think Carmella's walking out of SummerSlam champion, and I think people are going to cheer Carmella when she does it.
Yeah.
Been exposed a little bit.
They're definitely going to
hold that title for Charlotte Flair.
They're going to definitely cheer Carmella, especially given the big cast connection too.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. All right. Next up, we have Raw Tag Team Champions Cesaro and Sheamus versus Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins. Mike,
this one's rough. Cesaro have been doing a great job as Raw Tag Team Champions. Cesaro, one of the highlights of the show every week. However, I think their run's come to an end. And they haven't had a long run. They've beaten the Hardys a few times, and that was it. A couple other teams on Raw. And they're like, oh, yeah, well, we were super dominant, you know. It's unfortunate.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate, but based on the story with the Shield kind of the Shield reuniting, story in the company. Right now, it's Ambrose and Rollins burying the hatchet. You kind of have to pull the trigger. Pull the trigger. It's got to be Ambrose and Rollins winning. I really enjoy and love how they should win because they're thick, but they're not. They deserve a long-term run, but I think this run's going to happen. We are all, quite frankly, kind of looking forward to. I'm like, Sheamus is already to win. We're all kind of looking forward to Ambrose and Rollins kind of doing stuff together on screen, kind of reuniting. Maybe Roman will come back and Roman Reigns gets cheered. So,
excuse me.
The Shield light wins. Yeah.
Yeah. This is first of all, if you don't pull the trigger now, when do you? Because there's really nobody else in the division face wise that you can run. At least you create another team, or you bring somebody over in the upcoming superstar shakeup. But There's really nobody else. So it's kind of that moment. Look, I've heard people say all week that, oh, they had to do the whole fist bump thing on Monday night. You had to build it up so they work as a team. I really wish they kind of waited until after they win on Sunday to do that, because they would have added to the moment. But I digress. They're going to win. It's going to be a great match. These two teams have chemistry. I mean, Cesaro and Sheamus had they won the title twice together. So even
they didn't have long reigns either time, though.
No. Well, the first time was strictly transitional. I think this time was probably supposed to be long. I don't think the Ambrose Rollins thing was really a plan. I think they kind of just came together like, well, we don't have anything to do either for one of these guys, and they just kind of threw it out there, and they said, oh, this would be a cool story. So I think they fully meant to keep the titles on these two for a while. Once Sheamus got back from the movie and everything, or being away, I figured they thought they would keep him on for a while. But you got to strike while the iron's hot. Ambrose and Rollins are the team to do this, so they're going to do it. It's going to be a good match. Ambrose and Rollins to win. All right, next up we have Raw Women's Champion Alexa Bliss versus Sasha Banks in a match that I thought all along we would get at SummerSlam when we started building this a couple months ago, but we weren't supposed to get it. We've had many different rumors. Alexa Bliss and Nia Jax to threat with Sasha Banks, Nia Jax, and Alexa Bliss to Alexa Bliss and Bayley. Now Alexa Bliss and Sasha Banks due to the Bayley injury. And she had to do the same thing, beat Nia Jax to get here. Which I don't like the fact that she's had to do that, but because Nia Jax should be dominating. But another thing for another time. This will be a good match. We know they have legit heat with each other, so that adds a personal quality to it. It adds to the match. They'll give it time. This is a hard match for me to call. I'm going to be honest, because I felt like they were trying to build something with Bayley because they revisited the Bayley Bliss program, how Bayley wasn't aggressive enough, how she lost, how Alexa Bliss humiliated her. It felt like they were doing a redemption thing in which Bayley could win. I don't know if I feel that same way with Sasha. I felt like a month ago they might have been building to Sasha winning. Now I'm not so sure. I'm not. So there's a feeling for me like maybe Alexa retains here. But I'm going to go with Sasha only because I feel like, not that SmackDown really affects Raw too much, but they're going to probably have a heel come out as champion on the SmackDown side for the women. They might want to face the win here. And they might feel like Alexa Bliss won the title on SmackDown twice. Now she's won on Raw. She's had a long reign. It's time to do this here, and also because I think they want to keep this feud going, because who knows how long Bayley's out. So in order to keep it going, you can't just have Sasha continue to get screwed out of the win. So, and based on the way they booked it last month, I felt like they might have been building something there, like I said, with Sasha. I think Sasha's going to win here. Mike?
I'm going to go in the opposite direction. I think Alexa Bliss is going to retain. I'll tell you why. Because based off of this Bayley injury, I think Raw is going to be getting a big female call-up soon. And they're going to want the title to stay on Bliss for this person. Otherwise, I'd say Sasha Banks probably win. But Sasha doesn't need it.
Yeah.
I think Bliss more. Gives her more credibility a little bit. But that being said, while Sasha has a lot of evidence that they could go with Sasha, I'm going to say Lexi's going to retain, because I think the title soon after, not to this person coming up.
That's a good point. I'd forgotten about the potential NXT call-ups, but I also, what else I also forgot? There are rumors again. They had these rumors back in April too, but there are rumors they're going to move Sasha Banks to SmackDown.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to buy into those rumors, then there's no way she wins this match. So, I mean, I'm still going to go with Sasha, but yeah, it's kind of like the Big Show thing. You made some points where it makes me think there's more reason for it to be the opposite result than what I thought than the other. But all right, next up, a match that really I think has potential to be the best on the card, other than the main event, or maybe even better than the main event. United States champion AJ Styles versus Kevin Owens with Shane McMahon as special guest referee. Mike, go ahead.
Oh, you saved this one for me. Thank you.
You're welcome.
A lot of people, a lot of wrestling analysts today thought, oh well, this match is all going to be all about the referee. No, it's not going to be entirely about the referee. However, we have seen this match a few times. Blow-off match. This is entirely their blow-off match. So Sheamus and Cesaro. This match is going to be exclusively about Kevin Owens and Shane McMahon. AJ Styles is, I'm going to say this and it's going to hurt, but it's the truth. AJ Styles is going to retain the U.S. title. AJ Styles is going to retain the U.S. title because I think Shane McMahon is going to do something intentionally or inadvertently to cost Kevin Owens the match.
Yeah.
He's going to blame, and that's because apparently, I mean, there were rumors that they're going to try to keep the Shane versus Owens thing going until Survivor Series, and I believe that. So the point from here on out is to try to make phrase this correctly, which is why I'm struggling a little bit. From this point on, the story you're building is not AJ Styles versus Kevin Owens.
Yeah.
You're building versus Kevin Owens.
Right.
And I think for that to happen, Shane has to do something here to kind of screw Kevin Owens. So I'm going to say Shane McMahon will probably do something. Screw Kevin Owens here. At AJ Styles, as I said twice, is going to retain the title.
Yeah. You know this as well as I do, that one of the things that we usually, especially the last few years, we noticed at SummerSlam is we start building towards WrestleMania. And storylines, you know. Now, I'm not saying this Owens-Shane thing's going to Mania. It's not. But I think that this is part of where, they're starting to build certain things and layer some foundation to where they're going with a lot of guys. And, I think we're starting to see with Owens maybe where they're going because, since he lost the Universal title and Jericho left, I think they've been kind of like, well, what do we do with Owens? What's not beneath where he should be on the card? You know what I mean? And giving him AJ has kept them at the top of the card because it's AJ Styles. This match can we look? AJ Styles is going to retain. That's easy as pie to predict. It's going to be a great match. AJ is going to win. And by the way, that segment they had on Tuesday was phenomenal between AJ, Kevin, and Shane. It was a great segment.
Absolutely.
This whole storyline has been really good, but this whole feud has been. But this can go one of two ways. It either leads to Owens Shane at Survivor Series, or it leads to Owens leaving SmackDown for Raw in the shakeup. It's one or the other. And depending on what way they go here, that will probably determine it. Because right now I think it'll be something more obscure. I don't think Shane will intentionally do something. Because if he intentionally did something, then Owens would have a gripe and they'd probably find a way to move him to Raw. If it's something a little bit more obscure, like Shane's really trying to do his job and he unintentionally screws Kevin Owens, then they can keep building that story and drag it out to Survivor Series. You see what I mean?
That's what I mean.
So it's like one of those things where Owens keeps claiming Shane's out to get him when Shane's like, I'm not doing anything. It was unintentional, blah, 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 blah. So I think that's something we're going to get. Some kind of unintentional thing, kind of like Owens unintentionally kicking Shane in the face on Tuesday night. Something like that's going to happen, and that's going to cost Owens. So, yeah, Styles wins in what should be a very good match on Sunday. Next up, in a match that is fascinating now, John Cena versus well, he was Mr. Money in the Bank. Now he's not. Baron Corbin. Now, I've seen a lot of theories to this match. Baron Corbin loses the case because John Cena screwed him. Say what you want about that whole thing. It does add heat to this match now. It adds something to this match, that wasn't there. It's not so random anymore. But I've seen people say, well, because he lost the briefcase, the trade-off is he'll get to beat John Cena. Then you got, well, how can he beat John Cena when he lost the briefcase? John Cena's supposed to go to Raw. John Cena might. Are they going to really want John Cena to go to Raw and be involved in feuds over there, coming off a loss to Baron Corbin, who lost the briefcase? I mean, there's a lot of things to consider here. Then you have to wonder to yourself, well, if Baron Corbin lost the briefcase, why did he lose the briefcase? Is there heat on him? There's rumors that there is. If he's got heat on him, there's no way he's beating John Cena. There's no way. I tend to subscribe to the idea he's not beating John Cena. Now, this is an opportunity for Baron Corbin. We've heard time and time again how guys that get in the ring with Cena said this in interviews. I get these guys, it's like a barometer. If you don't do well in the ring with John Cena, you get depushed. Whether you win or lose, you get depushed. Because here's the thing. He's going to go to the back and say, well, this guy didn't give me a good match. This guy was difficult to work with, blah, 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 blah. You can always tell the guys, even if Cena wins the feud, the guys that did well in the ring with Cena, because even they come out of the feud, even though they lost them, still being considered a top guy or still being considered somebody to push, i.e. Kevin Owens.
And AJ Styles.
AJ Styles
won the feud.
Well, AJ Styles, but Owens is a good example. You saw they kept Owens, and Owens ends up being a world champion. You know what I mean? Whereas we've seen guys go in with Cena and not end up doing anything for years on end after being in a feud with him. So, they're not going to give it a lot of time, I don't think. I just think look, there is some more heat to it than there was a couple days ago, but yes, I think Cena's going to win this match. Mike, go ahead.
That's a good point, actually. I need to think about that. I do think, now that you say it, I do think John Cena is going to beat Baron Corbin. He's been made to look like a giant fucking... But to be fair...
Yeah.
Corbin did give Jinder Mahal his first clean win as champion. On Baron Corbin. What a team player.
That's ironic, isn't it?
He was very happy. Ironically, even though Cena got hit in the face, so maybe it wasn't that clean. This is making a break for Baron Corbin. I'm never, ever an advocate for having to lose. Not lose the case, lose the cash in.
Right.
If you put through all this effort of actually putting the guy over, and doing the damn work, you better have the payoff. So I am never ever an advocate for the Money in the Bank guy to lose the cash. But as long as they move forward with it from here, this is the biggest match of Baron Corbin's career, easily. Yeah, John Cena. He has to come out and he has to work hard and he has to show that he gives a shit. If he doesn't give a shit, sure, he's not anywhere near the title ever again. That's everybody back there because I heard it from a few sources earlier, and it's 100% true. Boy, he's untouchable. Right. If John Cena goes out there and has a bad match with wrestler A, Vince McMahon, Triple H, and whatnot are not going to say, well, that was John's fault for not having a good match with wrestler A, or A's fault for not stepping up. Right. Wrestler A in this case is hopefully not going to be Baron Corbin. Right. Because he got the stamp of every big legend. This is his last hurdle. He might not have heat. They might be up on him, they might be down on him, but there's no better way of getting up on you again is by going out there and having a hell of a match with John Cena. Right. I'm going to say, and I believe this, I think John Cena is going to win here. It's going to get 10 minutes, and Baron Corbin better make sure the best 10 minutes of his fucking career. Agreed. Now, a match that takes on a lot more, a lot different feel now that there's no more cash involved. WWE Champion Jinder Mahal versus Shinsuke Nakamura. Mike? I think the result's the same if the case is in play or not. It's no doubt. It's been generally no surprise to SmackDown. They have WWE has been in a holding pattern with Shinsuke Nakamura to crown this guy. They want to kind of like, oh well, we're making sure he's going to live up to the hype. He's been in a holding pattern, and people know it. On the verge of making him just another guy when he's Shinsuke Nakamura is a once in a lifetime talent. So I think the result's the same because they were going to wait till WrestleMania to crown. I think they can wait that long. Brooklyn, it's going to be a moment. Nakamura is going to win the WWE Championship. Beat Jinder Mahal because the one thing Jinder can say is Jinder had a run. Jinder had a decent run. Tampered by 3 matches with Randy Orton. Had so much interference, it was ridiculous. The one time he actually wrestled Randy Orton one-on-one, he lost clean. Match with John Cena by Baron Corbin. The only 2 guys he pinned generally clean during this entire run. Joe Rawley made basically Baron Corbin.
Right.
Jinder had his run. And create a star with Jinder Mahal, and to an extent, I think it worked. I mean, other than being the worst booked heel champion this side of Seth Rollins,
yeah,
he's worse because Seth Rollins actually won singles matches on his own. That being said, I think the reign ends. I think it's definitely going to be Shinsuke Nakamura win the title. Have to do something with him, and you just put him over Cena clean. Yeah, we're out. So I think it's going to be Shinsuke, even though the India tour's in like a month, and I know they wanted Jinder maybe to have the title. Well, anymore, it has to be.
I mean, they can just have Jinder
the championship.
Yeah, they can just have Jinder compete for the title on the tour. They want to. You know, I mean, it has some appeal, but yeah. Here's the thing, okay? First of all, you mentioned him Nakamura getting a clean win over Cena. You can't waste that here. And plus, even though Nakamura, you know, people have said, oh, in certain places he doesn't get as much of a reaction. He's going to get a reaction in Brooklyn. If you're going to do it, this is probably the best place to coronate him. It really is. He's going to get a big reaction. On top of the reaction you get in Brooklyn, he's facing a heel that people like to boo. So, you know, he'll get a big reaction here. I've seen some speculation where people think that Jinder Mahal might retain here. Because, you know, they're broadcasting this in India, and people might, again, you said the Indian tour, people might think that they're going to try to keep it on as long as possible. Look, if you're going to coronate Nakamura, you can't wait here. It's an A pay-per-view. You don't wait till Hell in a Cell to do it. You do it now. Okay? Also, I don't see them continuing what they did with the Orton program constantly. I think you're going to see an angle where they throw the Singh brothers out and get them out of the way, and then Nakamura gets the pin. They're going to build it up like a big thing, and Nakamura gets to pin Jinder Mahal. I've seen an interesting theory, one that you might be interested in, Mike, where they said that maybe after Owens loses the match to Styles because of Shane, he gets so upset that he ruins Shane's SmackDown main event by interfering in the match. And causing a disqualification, and that gets Owens into the main event, the WWE Championship picture again. I've seen that theory floating around, which is an interesting theory.
I think it's an interesting theory, but I think it can't happen here.
But to me, that would make more sense to do. Go ahead, Mike.
Well, I think
Would it make more? No, you good. You good. Go ahead.
no. You finish your thought.
It would make more sense to do that Owens thing at the next pay-per-view when they have their rematch.
That's literally exactly what I was going to say.
Sorry.
That's not something that you. No, it's fine. It's not something that you waste. Slam, especially since you had the scene of for
I think it will.
Shinsuke.
Yeah.
You have to do it.
It's something, if you do it at the next pay-per-view and you have Owens interfere, if it extends the story and keeps pushing things forward, and then you kind of get away with Jinder not having to eat another queen pin or something, So, I think this is the perfect place to coronate him. So just do it. This match won't get a lot of time only because, Jinder's getting better. He's better on the mic in terms of character more than he's better in terms of the ring. But he is getting better, but they won't give this a lot of time, So that Nakamura the win.
They're going to give it 15 to 20 minutes.
Yeah, and there'll be a lot of theatrics and stuff, but yeah, Nakamura the win. All right, the main event, which should be interesting. Probably one of the bigger, more interesting main events we've had for the Universal Championship. Probably the biggest main event we've had for the Universal Championship. Champion Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns versus Samoa Joe versus Braun Strowman in a fatal 4-way match. Battle of the Giants. God, has there ever been a fatal 4-way that is harder to call?
Yep.
Because it is. Well, okay. For me, there hasn't been.
There was a fatal 4-way that included Stone Cold Steve Austin, Vader, The Undertaker, and Bret Hart.
I take back what I said. I do. I take back what I said. But anyway, it's a hard match to call. I've heard speculation on Brock Lesnar retaining and then dropping it at No Mercy, which I think would be wasteful. There's obviously Roman Reigns, who was supposed to win this match originally, and now who knows. There's Samoa Joe, who there's been talk that Paul Heyman's pushing to win. And there's Braun Strowman, who the WWE has spent the better part of a year building up, even having him go over Roman Reigns, who's become a star before our very eyes. There's reason to think any one of these guys can win this match, which is what makes this a good match. You've heard a lot of theories. John Jones might be at ringside. He could screw Brock Lesnar. There's even talk of Cena coming in and screwing Roman Reigns out of the title. There's a lot of different things involved here. If you look at it's really, really early. But if you look at the betting odds right now, Lesnar's the favorite with Joe the second favorite. But that, again, it's really early. Right now, I'm going to be honest with you all. I think the guy that makes the most sense right now is Strowman because of where they're at in terms of his character and what they're doing. Joe, they might feel like can sustain himself longer without the title than Strowman, because where else do you go with Strowman? You put him over the presumptive face of the company in Roman Reigns. And Strowman's apparently booked to face Lesnar at Rumble. So it would make sense for Strowman to be the guy in that case. I think Braun Strowman's going to win. Other than Strowman, the only other person I think I would pick is Joe. I think this is going to be a fantastic main event. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be hard hitting. It's going to be a spectacle. And who knows what can happen? Maybe John Jones does do something in the match. I don't know. But I'm picking Braun Strowman to win, and I think you'll see Joe get pinned, unfortunately. But yeah, I'm going with Strowman for the win. Mike?
I have the same conundrum as you. Because let's be clear here. The Universal title needs to be on point forward, which means Brock Lesnar can never win this title again. On any part-time guy who's not going to be there every week for the duration of this run has to be on the show every week. So Brock Lesnar is going to lose the tier. 100%.
Right.
It's probably not 100%, but I'm feeling very confident that Brock Lesnar loses. Number 2, it cannot be Roman Reigns. not at the point yet where Roman Reigns is going to be accepted as a face champion. I think the fact that Roman's gone over a couple weeks now, standing, but he pinned Samoa Joe. I think that was his makeup. Roman's not winning this match. So it's down to Braun Strowman and Samoa Joe. You're wrong. Roman or Joe. I think Lesnar's getting pinned. I think John Jones. I think there's a chance John Jones is going to be there. But I think Brock Lesnar's getting pinned. Samoa Joe is a fantastic choice because they've been kind of pushing this false Samoan thing, the Samoan outcast, and it kind of puts that yin yang thing with Roman Reigns. It's very interesting. So it's hard to say that Joe would not be the most interesting choice to win the title here. It's hard to say that it won't be Joe. Roman. Braun Strowman's the guy they've been building up for a year. Braun Strowman is the guy who looks like a looks like a monster. He is a monster. Braun Strowman, you're turning into a spectacle. He's your Andre the Giant of the next era. He's the guy that you build that people pay to see. When somebody beats Braun Strowman, it's a big deal. Actually, you have to coronate Braun. So it comes down to Braun or Joe. I am going to say contrary. I'm going to say Samoa Joe wins. That he gets his way, and it makes sense for Roman and Strowman to kind of take each other out one more time. And Jones interferes. Joe gets him in the clutch, and then chokes Brock out. He gets the tap out without the tap. I think that could be the best way of doing it. I'll go with Samoa Joe. Why not? To be contrary, but it's like 51-50 because Braun Strowman is Braun Strowman. And there's not a better chance right now to get the title on Braun Strowman. Yeah. So, okay. I'm going to say Samoa Joe 50-51, 50 50.4.
Okay. All right. So that's a lot. That was a pretty big card. Can I help you?
Oh, hi. Go away.
You're creeping me out.
I'm not finished with you.
What are you? Okay. So anyway, that was a pretty long card. But yeah. All right. So, yeah. Sorry. All right. So let me pull up. We'll do like 3 questions quick, and then we'll if I can pull my screen up. I stupidly
real quick. Huge announcement.
Okay.
Fuck
announcement.
Is
it the same kind of breaking news Jeff Tech used to do?
Tomorrow. I just remember this. Tomorrow, WWE's YouTube channel. Justin might want to hear this too, but he's not because he's Justin.
He ain't going to be able to hear it.
So you might want to say this out loud. Tomorrow marks the return of Southpaw Wrestling. It's coming.
Oh, tomorrow.
Back.
Yes. Oh, that's exciting.
10 a.m. Southpaw Regional Wrestling.
Oh my gosh.
Drop today on YouTube.
Yeah, that's great. I thought you were going to tell me Shelton Benjamin resigned, which he did, by the way.
Didn't he resign last time?
Yeah, but he was injured, but now he's fine. So yeah, Shelton. Yeah, I thought you were going to tell me that. Like, oh yeah, Shelton Benjamin. Okay.
No, he hasn't been in Suzuki good in a while. But no. It's more important than Shelton Benjamin. Southpaw Regional Wrestling comes back.
Yes.
trailer is must see.
I thought they said there's going to be 10 episodes. I thought that's what I read. But I don't know. I'm not really sure. How much were they the last time? Like 4?
I don't know.
I think it was 4.
I don't know. I don't care. Paul Regional Wrestling comes back.
Oh. Well, that was big news.
Lance Catamaran.
That is big news.
Feels
Much bigger news than I thought that was going to be. That wasn't a Jeff Tech special. That was actually significant news. So thank you for breaking that, Mike. Yeah, I remember that. Those breaking news updates. I missed. That's one of the reasons why I missed Jeff Tech. That was the breaking news updates that didn't even matter. But yeah. All right. So it's like, well, all right. So we'll just do like 3 questions, then we'll call it because we've done a lot more. And a couple of things I did kind of address throughout when we were making predictions. But there is one question I know I can't get my email box right now for sure. But there was one question I remember I wanted to do, which was if I can put. Oh, wait a minute, I got it. What do you think that they're currently doing with Lana? It seems like she's lost a lot of her special qualities, and after making her a wrestler and having her job out for weeks on end, it seems like now they're thinking about trying to bring her back to being a manager. I'm paraphrasing here, so because I'm trying to go quick. What do you think they're What do you think they're going with Lana? And do you think by making her a manager, they can ever make her what she once was again?
Somebody's listening to the Wrestling Observer.
Yeah.
Because I kind of heard it as I was kind of YouTube while playing WWE Supercard. Lana, they were kind of doing something with Lana. Wrestler, she wasn't great at wrestling, but she was marginally better than Naomi. She has lost a bit of her special quality. She's not that much of a wrestler. She's lost every match. I can do for her now. Have her win a match and immediately go back to wrestling. So say, oh well, she was successful as a wrestler. Match.
Right.
But immediately have her going back to having her manage Tamina.
Yeah,
But Lana's special quality. Lana worked best with the Rusev act.
Yeah.
Eventually, I think for her to kind of click again, you've got to go back to her and Rusev, and it's got to be long term.
Yeah.
She's got to be done as a wrestler though. One televised win, so you could say, "Oh, well, Lana has a successful wrestler in her own right," you know?
Yeah, I agree. I would have
Rusev.
Yeah, I think you're right. I would have her, but that would be what I would do: have her win one match, and then just say, you know what, and then go back to what she's doing. To be honest, I mean, look, they wanted to do this for a long time. They kept putting it off. They tried it; it didn't work, and her character suffered a lot. I mean, she came back from the Ziggler storyline, so she can come back from this. I have no doubt. I just think that you have to do it right. And look, she's a character. She's good as a manager. You can even have her manage other people besides Rusev. I would keep her with Rusev, but maybe even give her a stable or something. She's good at it. She's really good at it. She's a character in her own right. So to have her do that, that's what she's successful at, you know? Well, we already kind of addressed this, but it's a general question. This summer, we've seen several highly touted NXT call-ups reach impasses. Enzo, Big Cass, Baron Corbin. Of these guys, who do you think will still be with the company for many years to come?
All of them.
I don't.
The only thing that I don't think might not be Enzo might not be, and Cass probably will, but Baron Corbin's probably going to be there.
Yeah.
I don't know the other one you said.
It was Baron Corbin, Big Cass, and Enzo.
Enzo's probably the one least likely to be in WWE. But I'd say it'd be hard for them to lose Enzo because Enzo's probably the best talker they have on the mic.
Right.
Big salary. It's hard. It's hard more.
You know what the thing is here? Here's the thing. One of the reasons why they're talking about moving him down to NXT instead and giving him away from Vince because they makes him a lot of money. And he can still draw and he can help NXT and he can still make, sell merchandise. Honestly, I think if he wasn't such a big seller and so good on the mic, they would have gotten rid of him already.
Yep.
So I think that might end up saving him. And he's not stupid. He knows by staying in the company, he's going to continue to make money, be successful, get the spotlight, so on and so forth. So I think the easy one to pick is Enzo because you see how much heat's on him and you're like, oh God, he's not going to last. I think because of those reasons, that's going to save him. And by virtue of that, Big Cass can be saved. If Baron Corbin essentially craps the bed on Sunday, okay, against Cena, I think he's done. Because we've seen people that are more over, more charismatic than him get let go for less, right? So,
see Sandow, Damien.
Yeah, or Wade Barrett or whatever. We can go on and on. But the other thing too is Baron Corbin doesn't sell merchandise for them. Baron Corbin doesn't make them a whole lot of money. The only reason why Baron Corbin's in this position, he got fast-tracked to the main roster because some guys in the back liked him and thought he had the size and with some training and some grooming, he could be a major force. They gave him a year on SmackDown to develop. He never did. They handed the Money in the Bank case to him, which we all agree was a bad idea. And it didn't work out. We all saw him on Breaking Ground. He was, he rubbed people the wrong way. He had an attitude issue. And you see what he's been doing on Twitter. That's the reason why people think he's got heat is because apparently they didn't like what he did with Dave Meltzer on Twitter. And apparently he blocked people within WWE from his Twitter feed. So there's a lot of things there. I think it'll be Baron Corbin. I don't think it'll be imminent, though. I think you'll see like a year or two where he doesn't do anything and he kind of flounders on like main event or something, and then that'll be it. I think it would be Baron Corbin that I can't see being with the company long term. That's why, because at least Enzo and Cass sell merch.
That's true.
And they draw, and their segments draw.
True.
Say what you want about this.
You're right.
This feud with Big Show and that's been terrible, but it's still the ratings for Raw and these segments has been good. So you can't argue against it, I guess. All right, last.
Speaking of merch, it'll probably sell.
Yeah.
Elias Sampson just got his first shirt, and everybody is going super crazy about how great this shirt is.
I have to look at it.
You know how not a lot of people love the crap on the back stuff. Kind of like a band T-shirt. They kind of made that's cool. Woodstock kind of shirt.
That's pretty cool though.
It's the Walking with Elias World Tour, and there is stuff on the back, but it's kind of like a bad shirt because on the back it's the next bunch of Raws.
Yeah.
So
that's a pretty cool shirt.
It's kind of like a band tour shirt. People are going over the moon with it. It is a cool shirt.
That's cool. I like that. That's cool.
So,
yeah. It fits. It's cool. That's cool.
So people are head on like it. So there might be some big plans for Elias coming up.
One last question, and then we'll end it. Brie Bella did an interview today in which she indicated that Daniel Bryan will be wrestling somewhere if WWE will not let him wrestle. Apparently, he's been undergoing oxygen therapy. That's how he's been going all over the map. undergoing oxygen therapy to help him with his condition. And if he gets cleared by, if his condition improves and he gets cleared by any doctors, he will be wrestling in another company should WWE choose to not let him wrestle, according to Brie Bella, who also indicated, and I'm going to throw this out there because I feel like it should be mentioned, that she mentioned their daughter to him and said, remember, you have a daughter, but if you've been cleared by a doctor says yes, go for it. I should note that. But anyway, the question here is this. Do you think there's any way that Daniel Bryan is allowed to wrestle in WWE if the treatments have been proven to have helped his condition?
No.
I agree.
Non-WWE.
I agree. I think this is
Does that mean
question.
He was given one chance at a match, I feel like. One chance to return at a match, and that the Miz.
Yeah. Right.
Because there was a story with Miz, and B, Miz works safe. Daniel Bryan didn't want to work safe. The American version of Katsunori Shibata. Shibata is style. I don't know if you remember, Shibata is also the guy who did a huge, unprotected headbutt that led to massive bleeding in the brain.
Yeah.
Shibata just recently came back at the G1 climax and WJPs.
Right. Right.
PW, the climax show. He didn't wrestle. He just came back and said, I'm alive, I'm here, and just walked away. But or two away from coming back. But Danny Bryan's the kind of guy. He's going to wrestle again. He's going to wrestle for somebody else and can't be for WWE.
Yeah. I think we all know by now he's going to wrestle for somebody. To me, that's not a surprise. It is surprising to know he's been getting these treatments. I've never heard of him. I don't know much about him. But I don't think, short of having a complete scan come back saying that there's nothing wrong with him, which is impossible at this point, I would think. And it would have to be repeated. Like, I think WWE would be like, well, give us 6 months worth of clean scans, of your brain and everything, showing that this has been, reversed somehow, which I don't think it's possible. And, then we'll talk. You know what I mean? I think it'd have to be something drastic like that to even get them to think about it. Look, they're not going to do it. They know he doesn't work safe. That's one of the reasons why they won't even entertain the thought of it. It's not going to happen. And you're right. He's going to work someplace else. As soon as his contract's up, he's going to work someplace else. It's a given. This is an easy question to answer. So, all right. I know we didn't do a lot of questions and comments, but we didn't have the time. Again, we did address some things throughout the match previews and stuff, so at least we did that much. But we got through everything, so that we had to do. What? Yeah. With that being said, because it's 11:06, we are done for the night. As always, the show might be over, but that does not mean you have to stop interacting and contributing to the show. Continue to have your voice heard. Send us your questions, your opinions, reactions, questions about the show and the scheduling of the show, reactions, opinions on things we did on the show, things we talked about, topic ideas and breaking news items that you want us to discuss related to sports, entertainment, or wrestling. Again, stuff related to the TV awards. Remember, if you're making a submission, you can do that by email only. That means any live voted award nominee submissions or any winning ballot submissions only by email only. If you have a general question, you can do it by email, Facebook, or Twitter. So just keep that in mind. So again, email address for the show, itspotlight411@gmail.com. Twitter, you can follow us and tweet us at itspotlight411. Please remember to use the hashtag itspotlight411 for anything you tweet regarding our show. I forgot to give you the wrestling hashtag, but it wasn't an all wrestling show anyway, so no worries, I guess. You can find us on Facebook as well by searching for In the Spotlight 411 on Facebook. And then once you're on our fan page, make sure that you like it. We encourage you to follow us on Facebook and Twitter for the latest information about the show, especially when it comes to scheduling. Obviously, last-minute postponements or delays can happen. So to keep up with our scheduling situation. And, of course, we also post random thoughts on our social media feeds as well. But to keep up with all that, make sure you follow us on Facebook and Twitter. Just search for In the Spotlight 411. Again, search for In the Spotlight 411. If you'd like to keep up with the show and look back at classic episodes, you have two ways in which to do that. You can either stream us anytime on Google Plus and YouTube. Just search for In the Spotlight 411 on both those sites. And once you do, you'll have access to our show pages on both sites, which will have all of our episodes that we've ever produced for Google Plus and YouTube. That's everything from mid-October of 2015 all the way up into tonight's current episode. They're all available for you to stream anytime you wish. So if you're interested in that, make sure that you do that on Google Plus and YouTube. Just search for In the Spotlight 411. If streaming's not your thing, maybe you don't want to see us on screen, maybe you prefer to listen to us on the go, or maybe you're interested in older episodes of the show. If any of that applies to you, check us out on our main host sites, Podbean and iTunes. Search for In the Spotlight 411 on both those sites. And when you do, you'll be taken to our show pages on both those sites where you'll see every episode we've ever produced over the nearly 7 years we've been doing this show. That's everything from our original blog talk from October 2010 to January 2011. Everything from our talk show run from January 2011 all the way up to mid-October 2015. And, of course, all of our Google Plus and YouTube episodes from mid-October 2015 all the way up into tonight's current episode. All those transferred into audio format for your convenience. All those episodes in order from the most recent to the oldest, all in audio format for you to listen to anytime you want. So maybe you're a long-time fan, wants to check out an episode from 3 or 4 years ago, a new fan wants to check out an episode like that for the first time, or you want to keep up with current episodes, maybe miss an episode, or whatever the case may be. You can do all that on our main host sites, Podbean and iTunes. Just search for In the Spotlight 411. Again, just search for In the Spotlight 411. So Google Plus, YouTube, Podbean, iTunes. Always keep up with the show and look back at classic episodes. Google Plus, YouTube, Podbean, iTunes. Always keep up with the show and look back at classic episodes. Just search for In the Spotlight 411. Again, search for In the Spotlight 411. And you'll be able to have access to all of that. I want to thank Mike for being here tonight. Thank you, Mike.
Time for bed.
Thank myself for another great show, parents on the back, and thank all of you for your continued support and contributions to the show. Thank you so much for watching. To those that will be watching and listening to this later, thank you to you as well. That is it for this week. So good show. We got through everything. We did good. Remember, next week, the schedule changes. We are still only doing one show a week, but it will not be on Thursday. It will be on Tuesday. This goes for next week and the week after. So the next 2 weeks, our shows will be on Tuesday night at 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. Please remember that. So our next show will be this coming Tuesday night at 9 o'clock Eastern Time. Of course, that's on August the 22nd. So this coming Tuesday, August 22nd, will be our next show at 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. So please make sure that you keep that in mind. Remember, live voted award nominations and TV award-winning ballots due a week from this coming Tuesday. That's August the 29th. 9 o'clock Eastern Time is the deadline for that. So make sure that you note that. And again, our next show this coming Tuesday, August the 22nd, 9 o'clock Eastern Time here on Google Plus and YouTube Live. On YouTube Live, I should say. And that show will cover all the fallout from SummerSlam, talk about SummerSlam, all the big sports headlines, TV highlights, box office beat, all that on Tuesday's show. So make sure that you tune in for that. I hope you all have a great rest of your night, a great weekend, and a great start to your week next week. We'll see you back here this coming Tuesday, August the 22nd, 9 o'clock Eastern Time for our next show. Until then, good night, everybody.